Children around the verse grow up hearing dreadful stories of inhuman, cannibalistic men who stared too long into the void beyond the edge of space and became filled with what they saw. Nothing. Every scrap of what made them human lost forever. For those far from the safety of the core worlds, however, these twisted tales aren't just a fiction woven to send chills up the spines of the young and gullible. They're a deadly and terrifying fact of life.
Reavers ain't men.
Of course they are. Too long removed from civilization, perhaps. But men. And I believe there's a power greater than men. A power that heals.
Reavers might take issue with that philosophy. If they had a philosophy. And they weren't too busy gnawing on your insides.
In Joss Whedon's Firefly universe, the Reavers are a disorganized faction of vicious and uncivilized human beings, driven entirely by an insatiable need to inflict unthinkable levels of pain and suffering upon anyone unfortunate enough to cross their path. Surviving primarily on the flesh of their victims and clothed in stitched-together human skin, their own flesh riddled with self-inflicted mutilations and pieces of scrap metal, these brutal raiders target developing, undefended settlements on worlds far from the central planets, and vulnerable cargo or transport vessels beyond the safety of commonly traveled routes, typically killing, raping, and eating every last man, woman, and child they find, though not always in that order. In fact, it appears that Reavers prefer, if not require, their prey to be living, terrified, and in pain, or else they abandon their interest in the body, ignoring the dead the moment that they cease to struggle. Their battle tactics are focused around keeping their victims alive and immobile rather than killing outright, and they vastly prefer up-close melee combat over ranged attacking, even if it means severe casualties among their own numbers. Reavers are no more immune to a blast to their chest than any other human. They simply do not care about the pain or difficulty presented by any non-lethal injury, and will continue the attack in spite of it. It isn't even clear if Reavers are capable of communication as we understand it. Every and all transmissions from their nearly obsolete, radioactive, bone-festooned ships are little more than mindless howling and screeches of rage, with no identifiable language amongst the madness. Yet in spite of their apparent insanity and single-minded sadism, they are capable of strategic cooperation and are known to occasionally set relatively complex traps in order to incapacitate prey. Similarly, they are clearly capable of piloting the technologically advanced starships that serve as both their transportation and shelter, as Reavers don't call any planet home, instead residing as a massive fleet far outside normal travel routes whenever they aren't actively on a raid, though they had begun to expand beyond their usual territory just prior to the events of the TV series. On rare occasion, a Reaver raiding party will leave a single survivor to be found when they finish with a crew or settlement, forcing the unfortunate individual to witness the full depths of their depraved acts upon his or her loved ones and friends, until, inevitably, their mind shatters, and the survivor begins to take on the traits of a Reaver themselves, attacking all non-Reavers in a sadistic blood rage, a sort of sleeper cell trap set by the cannibalistic raiders, implying much more intelligence and forethought than one might expect based on appearance and behavior alone. While most outside the Alliance leadership believes the previously mentioned tales about the origin of the Reavers, the truth is more sinister by far. Rather than the natural result of humans staring into the void at the edge of occupied space, Reavers are actually the result of an experimental chemical, G23 Paxilon hydrochlorate, colloquially known as the Pax, being introduced to the population of Miranda, a union of allied planets' colonial settlement. Released through the air filtration systems, the Pax was a research chemical designed to pacify the population of a planet to the point of calm obedience. However, though 99.9% effective on Miranda's population, the effects went far beyond their intended results, creating a population pacified to the point of complete apathy to any and all stimuli, even their own bodily requirements for survival. Most of the populace simply wasted away to nothing, sitting passively wherever they happen to be at the moment of contact until their bodies shut down from exposure or starvation. However, 0.1% of the population experienced a wholly opposite reaction to the chemical. Their aggressive tendencies were enhanced far beyond human recognition, driving them to unthinkable acts of violence and sadism on anyone displaying anything beyond complete corpse-like passivity, as evidenced in how the originally transformed population completely ignored the rest of the pacified citizens of Miranda in favor of the unaffected research and security teams, leaving untold number of living humans to die peacefully while abandoning the planet in search of more tempting prey. It has been theorized that these wildly differing reactions to the packs may be genetic in origin, a rare marker present in only a tiny percentage of the human population, and that Reavers can sense when an individual among their prey carries this same genetic marker, resulting in the previously discussed survivors and their subsequent behavior, as well as the relative rarity of such cases. These theories are mere speculation, however, as those within the Alliance who possess enough knowledge about the Miranda experiment and the true origin of Reavers to authorize research into the phenomenon are far more concerned with keeping the events secret than discovering the truth behind those events, which they were successfully able to do, at least until the crew of the Serenity shed light upon the Alliance's crimes.